It's
Gotta love
it's
that.
June. It's June. It's Friday. It's 4 o'clock on the East Coast. Just when you thought you were ready to wrap up your day, wait 1 minute. We got a little bit more for you this week here. Welcome to Staffing Mania Live. It's our second episode. Richard, we're making this a habit now. It's happening every single week. I'm so excited to be here with you today. We are all about helping staffing leaders, recruiters, account managers, and support to engage, excite, and execute for staffing excellence. Hello, hello. I am Amy Yak with Pain and Forge Strategies, and I am, of course, here with my partner in crime, Richard, the Staffing Shark. Hey, Richard, how's it going? How's your week been?
It's time. It's ready. Are you ready? It's Friday. Everybody else is at the restaurants or bars, and we are jamming out here live. Woo!
We are. It's our happy hour. It's a way to end the week strong. Have a little nugget to ruminate on as you sip on your favorite beverage of choice, alcohol or not, since you have earned it on this Friday. But like I said, before we let you off the hook and you start your weekend, we wanted to talk a little bit about one of our favorite subjects, authenticity. So, Richard, last week we had our first episode and we talked about the idea of community and meeting people where they're at, both IRL, as the kids say, in real life, but also online on these platforms, meeting them where they are, whether it's in specific communities, on the social medias, or like you talked about, literally where your 2 feet are within your town, within your community, and finding ways to connect and engage with them. And through that, attract and have them curious and interested in being a part of what you do, but also ultimately helping them be successful in their lives and careers. And one of the things that we didn't get to touch on last week was one of your secret sauces, one of the secret ways that you do it, which is, ironically, we're here on LinkedIn, but also meeting people beyond the place where you think business is conducted, and that is Facebook. So talk to me a little bit about your Facebook philosophy when it comes to how you attract and engage with potential clients.
Facebook's like the Intercontinental Champion. I swear to God, it is. It's like you got the heavyweight LinkedIn, and then here comes the Intercontinental. It's Facebook. And you know what's funny about it? People don't understand, but Facebook still rocks it out. 3 billion people's on Facebook. Like, seriously, peeps, I know everybody wants to stay on LinkedIn. We all love LinkedIn, but other platforms, you got to be on them all, at some point. But you know what I love about Facebook? It's so keeping yourself real. Like LinkedIn is, we are now finally getting where we're real on LinkedIn a little bit, and we'll talk about that later. But like on Facebook, you can let your hair down. You could be yourself. I think the biggest thing is, just be you. And you see me, I wear a t-shirt all the time. You don't have to have a tie on. Go where your population is. If I'm doing light industrial, I'm going with the peeps. I'm going to dress like them, act like them, because that's who I want to be around them, And I think on Facebook, the advertising is so good these days. People understand that because, Amy, I'm going to tell you, you cannot just post in a job group and say now hiring and walk away. That doesn't fly.
No, that's not good enough.
No, that shit doesn't work.
That's the bare ass minimum. That's the BAM, the bare ass minimum, right?
It doesn't work. And you know what? I think I got a video here real quick. I can show you. I mean, some of the stuff that we do, you just got to make it creative. Check this out real quick. You ready for this clip?
I'm ready. That is amazing. I absolutely love that.
It's called Branding Burst. And I'm going to be actually doing some stuff on that. It's like 15 seconds in your face, like a Netflix teaser. People, you know how many people engage with that with me? They're like, this is something different. You're bringing high energy music, flash. You're not saying I got jobs for you. Everything is in the title. It's summertime. So stuff like that on Facebook, that's where it's at. This stuff are just still pictures of, just posting now hiring and all that stuff. Doesn't work. And there's so much other stuff about Facebook too that we don't know about, the reels and the stories. Instagram and Facebook, as we know, they're family owned. You got to use them both. I post so many stories on Instagram, share them on Facebook. I mean, it could be inspirational, stuff like that. You'll get the views. You'll get people start engaging with you. I think it's people think that it's only about TikTok now, and they're forgetting Instagram's got so many good things now. Something new that they got is note prompts now, where you can actually on Instagram go in and Facebook and talk individually, like on just not a messenger thing. You can actually do group talking now. So that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Really? Okay. I think we're going to have to potentially have a future staffing mania or some sort of masterclass, Richard, where you dive into this deeper, because I will say I am not great when it comes to social media, especially. And that's one of the things, that's why we sparked this conversation, because you and I were talking and I was like, I don't know how to use these things. I don't know how to present my quote unquote brand, or to, present my voice in a way that is appropriate, because I have very much, up until you changed my mind, I have very much thought about each of these social media platforms very compartmentalized. And I try not to bring my personal life into LinkedIn or bring my work life into Facebook. And even though I am one of the people that preach, you are a whole person, bring your whole self everywhere, when it came to my approach with social media, I was very much creating boxes for each of them. But when you said, Ames, you got to think about Facebook. It's such an untapped resource. I think I said to you at that moment, a kind of a light bulb, like, you know what? You're right. Because actually a lot of my former clients and colleagues and people that I've worked with in the past, I am friends with them on Facebook. And actually, I connect with them more on Facebook than I do in LinkedIn, because that is where we're sharing our whole selves. We're sharing what's going on in our lives. There's, I see when friends go on, or former colleagues go on vacation, or when their kids are graduating high school, or one of them recently just became a grandmother. All of those things are happening on Facebook. They're not usually being seen or represented on LinkedIn. And while I think it's good to have a specific philosophy with maybe what you're sharing or how you're sharing the information across these different platforms, I think it's such a great reminder that if you really want to build connection, which is everything that we're about, stand out, be different. Don't just send out text blasts or email blasts. Actually make meaningful connections. Often where you find the opportunities to connect best with people is on places like Facebook and Instagram, because that's where they're bringing themselves, not their professional selves.
You know what I love about Facebook? Everybody's birthday. So what I do, I take it to another level. Anybody gets hired by me, I connect with them on Facebook. My life in recruiting staffing is out for the whole world to see. They see everything I do, And I think if you keep that private life and then you want to have that business life, you can't do it anymore. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're doing something crazy, people know where you live at. They know everything. But if you could say happy birthday to half of the people you used to put to work, next time they need a job, guess who they're going to call? There's your database. Why get on LinkedIn and be that? I mean, I love LinkedIn, but the happy birthday stuff's so materialistic. And now we know on Facebook, you don't get many spams. I'll be honest with you, I don't get spammed in my box. It's people I know.
Yeah.
You don't have that protection where LinkedIn, you're just getting spammed all day. And there's so many other avenues, even your page. If you see my page there, it's me sitting on the beach with a cell phone, you got to make it creative, have fun with it. Started some groups. I mean, interacted. All these recruiting groups are out there everywhere. AIM, I get so much information from them. I got so many people connecting with me in our industry. I have more chats on Facebook with industry leaders than I do on LinkedIn. Is that crazy? Seriously.
Wow.
With the groups. Yeah, there's like 5 groups and they got like 13,000. The groups on the other platforms are not as friendly as they are with Facebook. And they'll just talk to you about, hey, I need help with this. I need help with that. You've noticed on LinkedIn, not too many people say they need help. It's about everybody saying they can help everybody else because they're trying to sell you something, right? We all know what it's about. We want to sell you something. Woo! Which could be another subject. We could get in the LinkedIn cage one day and just talk about it.
Ooh, that will be a tough wrestling match right there, I'm sure.
You know what, they have the good points too. But getting back to Facebook, before we wrap it up on this, everybody's got to be on it. And what I see, Aim, I see a lot of people on there with their page, like companies, and they don't do any interaction at all. They put a page out there. They got like,
Guilty of this
you got staffing firms that got 25 people. Is that all the followers? I'm thinking, why aren't you doing a podcast? Why aren't you putting video out there? I'm going to tell you, if you do Facebook Lives or like we're doing now, we're streaming on Facebook too also. So we're showing love to everybody. It goes a long way. People's going to tap into that you never know before. Yeah. So it's unlimited. We're going to have to do a course on Facebook. I did one last year and had almost, I think, 200 people on it. So let's deep dive in and have one again. I'm ready. There's some new updates, and I don't think our industry is updated enough on Facebook.
Yeah, I selfishly, yes, I want that, because I think I need to reframe my perspective and my mindset with how it comes to Facebook. Case in point, we're live streaming. What are the two I picked? YouTube and LinkedIn. The Facebook was there. I didn't pick it. so
but that's
yes,
great, though. People know that YouTube is the #1 streaming service. It's better than Netflix. If you don't have a YouTube channel and you're a recruiter staffing, you're losing out too, which is another subject we could talk about in this mania world we have this summer. So it's like there's so much on these platforms that they're missing out on. And here's the last thing, Aim. I can go on about this. You have to sell it like, you be yourself, but be like a Kenny Chesney. Be who you are. Don't be this staffing stiff, I call it. The staffing stiff that's just out there saying, I got 10 jobs for you. We don't want to hear that shit. Trust me, these candidates don't want to hear that stuff. They want to be excited. They want to be engaged. And then you employ them. Like I always say, my famous 3, you got to get them excited first. The hype, or they're not going to work with you. They got to believe in you. You there, Aim? Uh-oh, did she just freeze up? Amy, hello. I don't know. I think she's in the timeout here. Come on back, Aim. But getting back to Facebook, I think Amy's going to come back. She's a little frozen in time. But if you guys get a chance, seriously, reach out to me or Amy, and we'll definitely guide you on this. There's so much different things that you guys don't know about Facebook now. Most of my database is Facebook. 80% of my clients and candidates I got from Facebook. Even businesses, you can drive so much business there. It's amazing. So this is something that we're going to tap into down the road. As you can tell, we're live. So, never know what's going to happen. People come and go. Studio, hopefully Amy gets back in here soon. But this is fun. So if you guys have any questions out there, let me know. One of the big things is the branding burst that I just showed earlier. If you guys can do videos like that, you see there's no talking in it. It's just all fun. It's coming back with all kind of good stuff. So that kind of stuff like that's good too. Anything 7 to 15 seconds is great. And look who's back. Look who's back. Look who's back. He's back again.
Again.
I'm just rambling on. I'm like, we're live. Shit goes live. Anything can happen when you're over the cloud. And that's what I love about this. Everything's live. Aim, you were frozen in time there for a little bit. That could be your new profile picture. You know that.
Oh, I can only imagine what that picture looks like. It's usually always me making a weird face. So I'm going to probably pass on that one.
Oh my goodness. But I just wrapped it up with the branding burst and tell people that you got to do videos and everything like that. Yeah. So, we'll have a deeper course. That's just a briefer. If you don't have a Facebook account, get one. If you're a recruiter, last thing I have to say, and I keep saying this over and over, don't get a generic recruiter and say Joanne recruiter, John recruiter, and have just a picture of you with your suit on or dress. You got to start acting, show some stuff that you care in the community. So what you're doing at nighttime, if you're making wine, put it out there. Who cares? People need to engage with you on fun things like that. And that's my end of that.
Well, and I think all of that ties into the core theme of today's Staffing Mania Live, which is all about authenticity and being and showing up as your authentic self. Yes, there's first and foremost, be you in all of the glorious weirdness that you are. Be you across all of these different platforms that you're going to be participating in, but also be you and ensuring that the real you is showing up in these different mediums. Because as the banner at the bottom says, we now have tools that are here to help us. But I think that there are some people that are maybe leaning on them a little too heavily. And because of that, this idea of authenticity is being lost. Now we have things like ChatGPT, we have text automations, we have chat bots, and all of these different tools that we can leverage within our role and within our organization. But we have to be really mindful about how we're using them and ensuring that we're still creating that authentic human conversation and connection. And don't sound like a bot, because first and foremost, no spoiler, we all know when it's a bot. We know
Hell
how you
yeah.
talk. We know how you talk normally. Now, I will say the way I talk and the way I write is sometimes a little bit different. I'm a little bit more thoughtful in my writing than what often just blah comes out of my mouth. But at the same time, it is very evident when you are literally just copying and pasting what the various large learning model tools are spitting out for you. So don't lose that sense of authenticity. I know this is something that you were really hot on, Richard, so I want to hear your take on this as well.
You are so right on that. And you know what? All the platforms, especially LinkedIn, I'm going to say, I'm not beating LinkedIn up, but I got to tell you, I see so many people saying the same stuff. You can cut and paste that and see the 5 creators that say the same stuff over and over again. As you know, with my content, there's ... exclamation point, energy ... So, you know, if I don't put the ... in there, because I have more shit to say sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think it comes down to, I mean, the candidates, everybody can see this generic stuff and these big words that, I mean, come on, if you're in Pennsylvania and you're not using Yinzer and you're using this big 40 word thing, I mean, come on, 40 letters. I mean, really? This is ChatGPT. But I think we're using it too much for everything. Like, I see people doing it for their presentations, which is great. But there's a lot of ChatGPT that's not right too. It's a supplement.
Yeah.
I'm going to just tell you straight up. It's a supplement. It's like putting hairspray on or whatever you want to call it. But end of the day, it's not your core. But everybody's using it as their core. Even candidates are using it for their resumes to build them. And then I've seen a couple things where they would build a resume, don't even look at the resume. Then they would go in and get quizzed in the interview. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't know I wrote all that. Like, well, you need to proofread that,
Yeah.
Because ChatGPT will give you like a grade, like an A or B. This is what they think you should be like a super genius. Meanwhile, you're just this whatever person. It's a manager, and then you're walking in and you're like, oh, I didn't know if I did that or not. And it happens all the time now. Because candidates now are using ChatGPT to search for jobs and everything. I mean, it's great, but it's getting out of control, and we see it.
Yeah. And I think it's the shiny new toy that is out there. And anytime there's a shiny new toy, a lot of us, we just start tinkering with it. And yes, I have definitely used it and thought, well, that sounded a lot smarter than what I was going to say. Thank you for making me sound a little smarter. But I think the big thing is just to not lose your authentic voice in lieu of automation and AI. Because if you're sounding like everyone else, you do not stand out. And that's the goal of all of this. You want to be able to stand out. You want to be able to differentiate yourself from every other recruiter, salesperson, an organization as a whole. You want to stand out, because else you're competing on the worst thing to compete on, which is price. And if you're competing on price, you're competing for it's a race to the bottom to compete on price. But if you can compete and compete authentically, where you are bringing something different to the table, something that is just you, that is unique for how you would engage or how you would work with these potential clients and candidates, that's going to be what is going to attract them. And more importantly, this is a big one for me, it's also going to be what keeps them around. If you're outsourcing too much of who you are or what you do, why should I bother giving you my time and energy and opportunities?
It's all about curiosity too. You know that. At the end of the day, I mean, what I always bring it back to Kenny Chesney. That's how I think. I'm in a stand. So my audience is in the stands. And if I'm on a stage, what's going to make them excited? What's going to make them keep coming back? And I think that's what we have to understand. It's not about us, it's about them. We say that all the freaking time. And I'll say that in every episode. And I think on a lot of these platforms, we put too much. Less is best sometimes. I mean, you put 40 paragraphs. Nobody's going to read all that shit. I'm going to be honest with you. They aren't. I know you want to put your whole story out there sometimes, and then you spice it up with ChatGPT and all this good stuff. But at the end of the day, keep it real and keep it short at times.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say I use ChatGPT for kind of two reasons. I use it sometimes to just brainstorm or come up with an outline for an idea, but I also use it in the inverse because I am naturally a lot more wordy, both in my conversation and in my written word. And so I will often write too much. I've been told I can be too much. I write too much, and then I put it in something like an LLM to help synthesize it, to pare it down, to help me get to the point faster, but still ensuring that my authentic, quirky voice is represented in some way, or at least my beliefs and my stance is represented, and it's not being sterilized in order to be, universally understood or accepted. Because that's not what I'm aiming for.
Okay, here's one. What about ChatGPT for a book? To write a book, it'll write you 96 pages. What's your take on that?
Yeah, if you want to rip off somebody else's stuff, sure.
I know. It's like I mean, it's the same stuff over and over again. We could talk about marketing and it's the same. I mean, I hate to say, but our industry is kind of stale. Everybody says the same shit all the time, Amy. Engage. We're going to engage clients. I want somebody out there to stand up and say, can we get results? Don't give advice anymore. Give actions. That's if I can say anything this summer, give actions. I think that's the biggest thing. And with the ChatGPT, getting back to that copy and paste, everything's copy and paste. I see so much over and over again, especially on LinkedIn. I mean, you see it over and over again. So we see it, candidates see it, clients, anybody out there listening is doing this over and over again. What's your take on this and the cut and paste? I know it's so easy to do. You cut, paste it, boom. You post it out on LinkedIn 5 seconds, where the other part might take 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I always say, take your time, get what you want out there right, and then take it. If you want to do a couple of ChatGPT things, quick, burst, a couple times a week, that's fine. But don't rely on that for every post.
Yeah, I would agree. I think use it as a tool to help you get your message clear, especially if you're someone like me who goes on and on, but use it to get your message clear, but make sure that you are still making it your own. And it's a representation of who you are and what you believe and what you value most with whatever it is that you're communicating out there. Be authentic. Don't be like everybody else. Everybody else is taken, right?
Everybody else is taken. So what I got to ask you, so on LinkedIn, since we're on LinkedIn right now with the cut and paste ChatGPT, where is there a limit, like what you should post or not? Because, we talked about this last week a little bit too. I mean, there's some stuff people cut and paste, like advertisements now I see, like for Budweiser. I mean, seriously, there's stuff out there, commercials, cut and paste, and they want to share that because here's what I'm hearing. If they share like big time stuff, like say something from Netflix or Chick-fil-A, they're figuring that audience will carry over theirs, but it doesn't. They keep thinking if they share good stuff. I think we should share stuff in our industry, but don't overkill it with I see some people, that's all they do. They share all day. They share their whole profile sharing. What's your take on that?
It's interesting. I have conflict, I think, with this because I know there are the Gary V's of the world who believe that you should get it out there and get it out there often. And I do understand that we do place a lot of stock on thinking people see what we're posting, but not everybody sees everything that we're posting because there is this almighty algorithm, as well as the timing and just the sheer number of people that we might be following. So there is this balance. I struggle with it because I don't want to continually post or even reshare a post because I feel like, oh, now I'm being spammy, or I'm already telling them something that they've seen before. But the truth is that probably 98% of people haven't seen that thing that you've posted. So I'm still on the fence with it. I will say, Richard, I haven't quite resigned to a particular mindset or philosophy. Although I do know that the experts nowadays, at least in this moment, as of June 7th, 2024, that the going recommendation is 2 to 3 times a week on LinkedIn, and usually between Tuesday and Thursday between like 8 and 2. That's usually what they say. But again, I would say if everybody's doing that, if everyone's doing it, how are you standing out, right?
Guess what? I do it on Saturdays and Sundays to get more that way, more likes and more comments sometimes because it's a weekend. Because nobody's out there.
You rebel rouser.
Yeah, no, it is. I think anytime. Post when you want to. If it's 2 a.m, you get up and you want to post. Now, getting back to the sharing stuff, I think when you share, you should make some quotes and make a couple comments and do some hashtags. See, I will never just share. I'll share, but I'm also going to put some taglines in why I'm sharing this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thoughts, which actually makes it go higher on algorithm. When you just share like a carnival ride, it just keeps going around and around. I don't know what people want sometimes. That's what I understand. Like likes, that's great. But you know what? Likes aren't going to get you business,
Right.
No, at the end of the day, you got to get engagement. Like I always say, if I had 5 likes or 500 likes, but had 5 likes and 2 people's talking to me, I win the game right there.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is you even touched on this earlier, what you said your philosophy is that I think what needs to shift, and I'm saying this personally myself as well, is that there needs to be less talking and more teaching and action, right? So there's so much, even nowadays, LinkedIn, for example, has those collaborative articles, which are basically just AI generated prompts that a bunch of people add contributions to. I think that's just noise in a vacuum. It's just a black hole. They say what what opinions are like, and I think that to an extent that is true when it comes to some of these things. I think there's a lot of people who have a thought that they want to share, but thought leadership does need to be beyond you just sharing what you believe or what you think, but also what someone else can do with that information, how they can then take action on it.
Give them options. I think there should be options on everything that you do, because there's not one right way. There's not one wrong way. Seriously, at the end of the day, we all say, this is the right way to do it. There's not a right way to sell. There's not a right way to post. You just got to find your niche and go that way. You could take all this advice, but take this stuff that they give you and then throw it in and mix it up and put it out.
But make sure that it's authentic, right? It is not it is not a copy paste of ChatGPT or otherwise. It is something that maybe is inspired by, but is still delivered in your authentic voice, because we can all smell it. We all can tell when it was, bot generated. Don't be a bot, be a person, be a human, and talk to other humans as a human, not as a bot.
Don't be a bot, be a body. How about that?
That's a good one.
Okay, I got a quote for you. You ready for this before we wrap out? Here it is.
Yes.
This sums it up for the week.
I like it. Life is like a flower. You never know when you're going to bloom. That's a nice reminder too, because, we could get on the subject separately, but when it comes to growth, we sometimes expect it to happen a lot sooner than how long nature needs it to happen.
Trust me, I'm going to tell you straight up.
The environment needs it to happen.
Working out all the time, bodybuilding you don't get muscles overnight. So that's the same way with business. Business and bodies are the same way. You want to create a great body for yourself, same way with business. It takes time. And
consistency. Yeah. Don't give up in a week, especially when it comes to social media and posting. We can sometimes feel like we are just posting into the void and no one sees us. But every once in a while, there's those glimmers where you see a little bit of activity, people start to comment. Or I have people, I'm sure you've had people say this to you all the time. They're like, oh, you know what? I saw your post that you did here. Or I saw where you talked about that. We wouldn't have known had you not told us. So I think another piece of advice here is that, especially when it comes to this information that you're putting out there, these posts that you're putting out there, is also let people know. Let people know that you valued it, whether it's by putting a comment or sharing it. That really helps those of us who feel like all of this is pointless and why are we bothering to do it, because no one cares and no one wants to see it.
Out there, praise people, express yourself, come on.
Yeah, Yep. All right. Well, Richard, thank you. This was such a great conversation. Please continue if you have any thoughts or comments or best practices that you do or don't do as it relates to what you share on these various social platforms, what your approaches or your philosophy with what you share where, how you share it, but also maybe how you're leveraging some of these AI tools to help you maybe spark an idea, which then you can turn into something that is in your authentic voice, because people don't buy what you do, they buy who you are, basically.
You got it. Till next time.
All right.
Woo! Later.
Oh, yeah.